Shiva. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hello, hello.
Surprise, surprise.
Oh my goodness.
I
Yes,
want
yes.
to know why you don't have a camera yet.
I'm working on it, sweetie. I am.
All
The
right.
computer that I have uh, was a gift from the gentleman that stayed here where I'm staying right now. He just kind of gave it to me. So um, it's very old and it does not have a camera. And I'm working on getting a really nice one, but it hasn't come through yet. It will. I'm going to surprise folks. Why? You want to see my face?
I sure do. I
Oh,
love
no.
that face. Why wouldn't I want to see it?
Well, it's not the face of what I was telling the other Sharon Renee the other night is that sometimes I run around in my pajamas, uh, depending on what time of the day it is. And so I'll have to give up that freedom. once once I commit myself, I'll have to be dressed, you know. So right now I'm just kind of being myself. I have sent out, and let me send out to Melvina again because she doesn't always pick up right away. But I have promises from Reverend Sharon Renee to do the Brazilian healing pattern that she does. Did you get some rest today?
No, but I got a treatment last night and
Hmm.
I have felt better all day.
Oh,
I
good.
needed an immune system pick me up.
Oh, that's
It
because
worked
it. How did this happen? Because it's what we're going to talk about. We're going to really get into healing this evening.
over work.
No, no, this, no. But who gave you the healing treatment?
My friend Dilek.
Okay, okay, because that's really important when you're in the field, so to speak. You're basically on the front line with what you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so
Well, right
there's.
now I am. Right now I am. But, I've got two people that are in the midst of training. And then I'm going to form a new class and I'm going to do an evening class. And that's going to be after December 10th because one of the people that's going to be in that class is going to be in Italy and returning on the 10th of December.
Mm,
So, the more often we could get together, the more training we get under our skin, the quicker we get out on a floor. And if I work with people, I'll get them seasoned much faster. I'll get them confident, comfortable with the protocol.
and I'm looking to be one of those in the pew.
Okay.
when 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 would I be able to start?
Well, that'll be the next group that begins. So,
Okay.
all right.
Yes, because I'm very, very happy with the energy that I've been feeling for the last few days. So today I didn't go in, uh, but you're gonna do distant this evening, right?
I'll do a distant for you this evening.
Oh, thank you so much. But it really has helped. I think it's adjusted quite a few things there in my body, just in general.
Vaughn really has had some exceptional circumstances.
Mm, very good.
Quite a wonderful reaction.
Fabulous, fabulous.
And he brought a friend in today, and well, they came in separate cars, but the friend ended up coming in a few minutes ahead of Vaughn. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not actually beginning his treatment yet. It still tastes of iced tea. I'm sorry, Sharon.
It's okay.
Anyway, I gave him a treatment today to help to settle him down a little bit.
Now, this was Vaughn or his friend?
His friend.
Oh.
He had seen a program called The Healer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, God, that's what I need.
Oh.
And this healer, I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but supposed to be exceptional. And I've got to see that show. Anyway, he said, God, this is precisely what I need, that kind of a healer. And the next day, Vaughn sent him a text and told him about our center and about the treatment. He couldn't have come faster. He came running today. He's had a low back injury with sciatic pain that makes him feel like electric shocks on the sole of his right foot. And it's been for years.
Oh, wow.
He walked out almost wanting to dance.
I know the feeling.
I just treated the back and all of the sciatica went away.
Oh. You know you're going to have to, there's going to be a line from the center out to the street.
I will train 24/7, 365, and open that center 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I will do anything to meet the needs of the community within reason, within my reach. I want people to live happy, full, joyful, healthy lives. I would do anything for that. And that was an answered prayer for me. This is an answered prayer for me.
Oh. And to tell you the truth, it is a part of an answered prayer for myself as well. I think that anybody that takes on the role of Chiron or the wounded healer is that's the best way to fulfill that, is to get in and work without any restrictions, without any, I'm about to say it, without worrying about charging fees, how much is this or that, because they say that the master, talking about Yeshua, did not have that challenge. He just did the work. And that's what you really are doing, just the work.
Yeah.
And I love you so much for doing that.
But Yeshua knew how to turn a few fishes into enough fishes to feed the multitudes.
I think that we all have that ability. We just perhaps we're a bit apprehensive.
God didn't teach me that part. God gave me the rest of this, but he didn't give me that part.
Well, maybe it's something that is in your DNA that you just have to remember.
I don't have to go into my DNA. Yeah, please, you should send me an email, a text message.
Well,
you know how to say, get on a plane and go halfway around the world.
Oh, well, we've got one that's running late. That's Sugar Baby, Sharon Renee. She's running. Actually, she's up in West Palm, and she's trying to get home so that she can get on the air. So she's running a little late. I have sent out the link to all the remaining suspects to everyone, but I'm just going to do a little prayer right now. Not a little prayer, just the blessing of the angels. And for anyone and everyone that would listen in or would become a part of the center, and just to assist in it expanding so that it can assist more people in their healing. And so we just say a blessing. I'll do it in the Aramaic. I do so love that language. Uh, Bishem Adonai, Mimini Mikael, Misamoli Gabriel, Umili Finai Uriel, Ume Afarai Raphael, Baal Roshi Shekinat El. And that's basically thanking the archangels of light and requesting their assistance. They're supposed to be the top runners as far as the angels go. Michael to the right of us, Gabriel to the left of us, Uriel before us, and Raphael behind us. And the eternal Shekinah is the feminine aspect of God. And so I say thank you for blessing Robert Ray and everyone who's working with him and going to be working with him in assisting this modality, this essence of God in going forward, and in blessing the center and all the centers that will engage in assisting humanity in this period of time where we are getting out of the matrix. To me, this is just more of the fact that we're finally leaving the matrix. At one way or another, we're finally, some are going a little faster than others, but we're finally pulling up out of the matrix. And so we share this blessing with everyone, every single soul. Hello there. We have another individual. Do I know this person?
Evening. Yes, you do. Yes, you
Oh.
do, Henry. Hi, Robert.
Hello, Amelia. How are you?
I'm good.
She's
You
on.
left the matrix already, Sharon.
What? What?
You left the matrix already. You don't
I
even
left the matrix already. I'm not completely out of the matrix, though, right, Robert?
I think you're pretty close to out of the matrix.
Oh, when that day comes,
We're leaving it slowly but surely. The veil is becoming very thin. Soon we shall pierce it. Every day, those in power try to find new ways and create new machinations to foil us, but they are unwrapping themselves in the process. And we will reign supreme. The end of the story is written.
Amen.
I like that. Yeah, can I say amen to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or better yet, Amin.
Amin. Don't get me started. I will do the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic and Alamin. Alamin. I think Nelia had a question for you from Monday evening, but she didn't get a chance to ask it. So while we're at this, I'm expecting a couple more people. Ask your question now, sweetie.
Yeah. Well, my question was in regards to the wing makers. Since we are stuck in the matrix, this whole reincarnation thing is that we're just getting recycled. And I guess you guys kind of sort of answered it already before I got on about getting out of the matrix. So I'm not as far along as you guys are. What can I do to help myself?
First of all, I'd like to say, please do not be upset with the concept of reincarnation. It is a soul journey and a soul path. Your soul seeks wisdom and experiential knowledge. The only way to do it is to cycle through lifetimes. We have to be the doctor, the lawyer, the butcher, the baker, the candle maker, the shoe shine person. We need to be the surgeon. We need to be the healer. And we need to be the husband, the wife, the homemaker, the parent, and the child.
Really?
We need all these experiences so that the soul has true, everlasting wisdom. I, for one, am not upset with being recycled through reincarnation. I think there was wisdom to it. I don't hold anything against it.
Were we not perfect? Why do we even have to do it? Were we not perfect at the beginning?
All right,
And
let's look at the biblical concept and the biblical construct. And I'm going to paraphrase this so we get through it quickly and easily. God was lonely. So along came a big bang, and molecules shot in every direction, becoming the universe, the multiverses, the planets, the elements, and 5 specific elements formed humanity: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. We came to collect and create the circumstances that would provide experiential knowledge that would enrich the Creator, making the Creator more knowing, more loving, more powerful, and eventually, as we move up and through the rungs of this very entertaining system of life, we will again, some point in the future, rejoin with our Creator, where we will have the fullest expression of life. But that life will be so much greater than anything even God could have imagined. Because we are pieces of the Creator. It's just a perspective. Chew on it for a while, see how it makes you feel. But I'd like to see you have peace with yourself about it. There's really nothing to hate about life. Yeah, it has its rough moments. And I, for one, am feeling like I'd like to be done with the human version of reincarnation. But I don't think we always go through a human version of reincarnation. I think we cycle through many planets.
But okay, but if the Anunnaki trapped us here, how do we go and reincarnate in other planets? That's kind of like part of my question.
Okay, because the soul and the spirit could never be foreseen, foretold, or understood the way it is today by the Anunnaki. And they don't own it, and they can't trap it. It belongs to God, not to the Anunnaki. And they don't scare me.
They don't scare you?
Nope.
Now, okay. Now that you've mentioned that, that brings up an interesting observation.
Okay.
With as far as the wing makers are concerned, the whole concept of the wing makers, they're coming back or being able to project into the past, which is what we would be considered to their existence. This, what you're saying is that this was all a part of the original design in our being created, was that we would have access to that information through the wing makers, right?
I want you to cycle back in your mind and memory to Dr. Ayla's presentations.
Ah. I miss
Never
that man.
are we out of control of the central race, the author of life always has an eye on what's going on. It can't go on if it's not a plan. And as I said the last time we had the the last time I was part of the fifth.
Right, the fifth interview, which is,
I said,
yeah.
take what you need, leave behind what is hard to grasp or what is not believable for you, and take just the core teachings, because they're transformative teachings. They lead us on a right and a righteous path.
Okay. I find the fifth interview fascinating and very, it's almost like, it's the description there. It's hard to describe. I know I had some different experiences with it, but
I know you did. We
yeah,
talked about that.
yes. So anyone that is interested in discussing the fifth interview, we're going to get more into depth in that on Monday, provided Robert is going to be available on Monday.
Well, I'm sure trying to work it out. Sharon, I am, and Nilia, I am so besieged, and it's a highly specialized audience that's coming to me right now.
Mm.
It's all the healers that are coming. Why do you think it's all the healers that are coming in for healings right now?
Oh, I could probably tell you that.
So please do.
Oh, because we need to be what's the word? Regenerated. We've been out here doing the work for so long. In Reiki, they say that you're supposed to become reattuned at least once every 4 years, if not once every 2 years. And I know a lot of practitioners that are out in the field and they have not been reattuned in decades. I myself count coming to you as a part of my reactivation. But the last time I had an official reactivation was a good 5 or 6 years ago. And then I went to Brazil in 2015 with John of God. All of that trying to hold up the energy for what is being done, for the work that needs to be done. But you need to be able to be regenerated and reactivated. And it's not like we're out here without the assistance of God, but you've got to be able to have that open source, that connection. I'm not explaining this right. I'm not
You're
explaining.
not doing badly. I'm getting what you're saying.
You get it?
Okay.
Sharon,
But
I don't know if I agree with the concept of reactivation.
well, maybe that's not the right word to use.
No, I know that what you're saying is the philosophy of many in the world of Reiki. How can something you possess be lost? I can lose my keys.
Mm.
I can deaden my soul, but I can't lose it.
True, true. Reactivation is not the right word then, but it's like you burn out. You start burning out. I know in psychology, you have 2 years before you start to burn out.
Is that
And
the
so,
concept of the wounded healer? No. Or no?
well, yeah, that also. The concept of the wounded healer. Chiron was accidentally injured from an arrow that had poisonous blood on it. And since he was an immortal, he could not die, but he was in pain 24/7. And instead of succumbing to the pain and just saying, "Well, I'm in pain," he decided that he would assist humanity, and he trained healers, or we can say the word healers, but he went into the perception of, well, people need to know how to assist themselves in healing. And so he started sort of like a school where he trained all of the so-called heroes of Greek mythology, at least.
Mhm.
And he continued on with that. And he would work in pain because he learned from the pain that he was in how to assist other people in knowing and feeling what they were feeling. And Jung did a fantastic piece on that. There have been many wounded healers throughout history that, and the theory is basically you're learning from your own mistakes, you're learning from your own pain, your own illness, and how to treat others. And you take that knowledge and you work with that knowledge and you assist humanity as a whole. And so you can say that's why you're getting these chirons right now. I'm sure you've got quite a few that's just waiting to get in there. But yeah, it's easier to work from that level of understanding. Someone who has not been through those particular circumstances may have a moment in identifying with where and how to treat someone.
The man with the philosophy, or I should say the man with the experience, is never at the expense of the man with the philosophy.
Good evening, Mr. Murphy.
And on that note, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
You know who he sounds like with that echo behind him. He sounds like, you know what I'm talking about, Robert. Not the third man, but with that echo behind him. He sounds like he's in a broadcasting studio somewhere.
Yeah, I'm in a broadcasting studio. It's called the Cosmos.
Yeah, okay. All righty. But yes, and sometimes when I'm talking to people or counseling people, I will give them the benefit of something that I've experienced that I feel that they might identify with, to assist them in realizing that, number one, they have so much more to pull from. And here is my experience, something to assist them in finding that healing spot within themselves. So you're going to have a lot of chirons for a while, Robert. We're everywhere. They're everywhere.
I am thoroughly in love with the idea of treating my brother and sister healers. But I'm finding that at times I have to reach out to a friend that uses the same modality and throwing myself at her mercy.
Yeah.
And although she herself right now has cancer, I try not to do it too often, but she's always eager. She's always eager. She sees what's building. She understands what's building. And tomorrow night, she comes in and I'll be working on her cancer.
Okay.
But she has to have daily treatment, daily ripping out of that energy. And between her husband and I, we'll keep it going.
Okay.
But everybody needs a break now and then.
Oh, yes.
It's very interesting working on healers. I mean, some healers make you chase their pains all around their body. And pain starts to move. It's an energy. It wants to survive like everything else. So it runs. It runs.
We lead it a merry chase.
And I go after it, assuring it that it's going to be a lot happier where I take it and put it than it is where it just wants to stay there because it wants to be healed. It doesn't want to destroy. It doesn't understand what it's doing because it's an energy. It's not a physical form.
So you're saying you're saying that it's being true to its nature, without judgment or without an agenda.
Exactly. And because of this, I have dropped my previous reference to negative energy as being dark energy or evil.
That is great wisdom in and of itself.
Okay. Going
Thank
into
you. Thank you, Ben.
that level. Oh, Robert is a very wise man. This is.
I've been accused of a lot of things, but not of.
Oh, stop. From the very first moment that I met you, and Sharon Renee and I were discussing you the other day. Always all good things. The energy, as soon as I heard your voice over the phone, it was like, yes, okay. And because she was saying, you've got to have him on your program, you've got to have him on the YouTube. And I'm a bit selective, in case you haven't noticed. Don't run everybody through. And so I said, well, first let me talk to him first before I just present him. Even when you screen, it doesn't always work. I don't know if you remember Margot. Margot was on, yeah. She will not be coming on again. Not because she's not been asked to, but because she doesn't, never mind. We'll discuss that later.
My frame of reference is the Holy Ghostess.
Well, she said that we all needed Jesus, so that'll give you an idea. But no,
I need a little bit of Jesus in us.
Yes, we do. But no, in having you on, the minute I heard your voice, it was like, oh yeah, this is a previous soulmate, a current soulmate, and here you are. If you would, my dear, give just a brief idea of what the training was that you went through in Blood, if you don't mind.
Okay. In Blood, first of all, understand I have a background in education for many years. And for many years, I structured trade-related education to make and help people become understanding of their craft, make them proficient of their craft, and work with greater degree of self-assurance. It forced me to become the educator that I am. And I got to tell you a story. And I mean this in all humility. I'm a very different person today than I was in my youth. I told Vaughn today, we were having a conversation. The very first time I went in front of a public audience to teach, I took a good-sized snort of cocaine and 2 martinis at 8 o'clock in the morning. You understand? I was so frightened, I had to numb and dull myself. And then I was chewing cotton balls, but I came out with...
Okay.
I came out with knowledge that they didn't possess. And I had a resistant audience because they were from Staten Island. They were toughies.
Oh, you had a tough room.
That was my initiation. I left the cocaine very quickly. I don't drink in the morning. It's not my nature. I rarely drink. But I was frightened that day. I did exceptional things to step out of myself. It was a push I felt I needed, and I availed myself of it. I got through that day. I got through it. Through the years, it forced me to become a communicator. It forced me to search for the light in people's eyes when they get that great aha moment. When you're teaching a concept, I became addicted to that. And then my audiences became large and great and compliant and moldable. Then I took that from that venue to the pulpit, and then from the pulpit, I have brought it into some spiritual teaching, because my guides have been so wonderful in helping to mold me to the degree I'm at right now.
I'd like to say something. In observation of the last two topics that were discussed. First, in reference to the name Margot, who I'm not sure who that is or what that situation is, and then what you have just explained so eloquently, Robert. When I listen to your story, it is a story of deepening knowledge of self, and therefore knowledge of all things, through living, through life experience.
Right.
And it's not a matter of deciding which life experience is good or bad, but it's understanding the nature of that experience, why you're doing it, what's going on, and then from that level of knowledge and understanding, then being able to have some level of facility of control or influence in terms of your own personality or how you express yourself in the world. Where I'm going with this is that ultimately, I do not know of any other process by which to follow the teachings of the being that we've referenced as Jesus or Yeshua or whatever that term is. Because the idea, it's not the teachings, it's the journey, it's the process, and what that process brings you to. The term Christ is a term of attainment. So therefore, whatever your spiritual path or your path of exploration and seeking is, if that path brings you closer towards not just on a level of awareness, but merging with that which is your original nature, then I cannot say that anyone or anything has more Jesus or Christ within them than a being that goes through that process. And I think that it's important for us to make that distinction, that when I read the scriptures and when I read the Bible, and coming from an early foundation of Christianity and Catholicism, what I took away from that and what I understood is that Jesus was teaching us the way. He was saying, basically, if you follow what I have done, and you pay attention to these teachings, which are sort of guidelines and signposts along the journey, that are little nuggets that unfold into these beautiful, scapes of information and revelation, and even to the point of actualization. For me, there is no greater adherence to the teachings of Jesus than to seek the truth within yourself and to unlock your true original nature, therefore becoming the most useful you can be, not only to yourself, but not only to the planet, not only to humanity, but to the entire cosmos.
Well said. Very well said.
You want me to go on and finish that question that you asked me? We went very far out, but it's been brilliant, the conversation. So here I am, somebody who understands the process of how to reach and enlighten somebody with education. And I find myself in Bled, and I had 12-hour days of lecture and example demonstration, and it was all medical terminology, having to listen to it first in Croatian and then hear it translated into English.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew, because I began to understand some of the Croatian, I knew that many of the things that the speaker was saying were not being accurately translated. The translator had too much of a personality. My head was splitting from the experience. I paid approximately $4,000 for an education. I learned what I learned with my eyes, and my guides filled me in. I began this work before I ever went to Bled, but in Bled, I completed an understanding that is still ongoing. I'm still learning new things every day, and I'm going to restructure it according to the way I think it's going to reach people easier, less painfully.
Mm.
My God, after the first segment, which was 4 days, I had done 48 hours in 4 days. I was exhausted. I wanted to jump on a plane and run home. I was told, don't you dare come home. For what it costs to send you there, don't you dare come home early.
Mm.
Anyway, in the next 4 days, it lightened up. I kind of could have come home in the first 4 days. I would have still been where I am. But it was very expensive, very laborious, and it doesn't need to be quite so laborious or quite so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by the time it all turns around, between airfare and hotel and food and time away from work, it was well over $10,000 what it cost me. And they're taking it out of Bled and returning the education to a higher learning program in Croatia.
Wow.
And it will only be taught in Croatian. And it's going to go to $5,000 for the course.
Why are they doing that, Robert? Besides the obvious.
Okay, because the originator is older now. He's almost 70. He's a vital man. He's strong. He's healthy. But he's been at this for so many years. He wants with his wife and his dog, and he has every right to that. He just wants to go into work, do his healings, and go home and live.
So in other words, what you're saying is, know that he has spent 30 years developing this modality. It is now at a point where it's being grabbed, and an organization is essentially being structured around it, right? So it's actually being put into an organization now for a larger dissemination on a larger scale.
It's going to become a smaller scale because of what they're doing and how they're doing it. He handed the program over to his son. His son is in his 40s. He's a brilliant man. He's a wonderful man and a wonderful healer himself. But understand, the moment that we're living right now, the veil is so thin. 20 years ago, their healing wasn't yielding the results it's yielding today. 12 years ago, it wasn't yielding the results it's increased. Greater things are possible and plausible today because the veil is so thin because the positive energy directing us, guiding us, is infusing greater capabilities. And I'm kicking it up a notch by adding new protocols, things I've learned. I'll have a protocol for teaching how to heal HIV. There's no such thing in their capabilities. They don't, in their program, there is no such thing. I mean, a lot of wisdom has been handed to me after the fact. But there's a distinct reason why it's been handed to me. It's not just from my practice, it's from my teaching. And I've been asked to step out and to teach this far and wide. And that's precisely what I'll do.
On a subjective level,
yeah,
this is the beginning of every modality, I feel.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah.
Becoming a part of the one. We discuss this all the time about the continuum and the collective, and the fact that we are a stream from the grand portal. But it is taking place. This is an observation of what is going to be the final, oh, I hate to use this word, but the final solution for humanity. Because, again, in my opinion, we each have the ability to heal each other as well as ourselves. We each, when we come in, we take it upon ourselves to become householders. That's all within the third dimension mainframe. But as we were saying before, earlier, when we first started, it says the veil is not just getting thin. The matrix is leaving, or allowing for it's
creating its own demise.
Yes, there we go.
It's weakening itself.
It's weakening. Finally. But in that respect, I see, and you know that I've done more than just the Reiki modality. There's a kernel of truth that one can say comes from the same tree. It's amazing. I think in observing it, I'm never without a moment of awe, but also of expectation, because this is what is supposed to take place. Back to, for just a moment, the Christ consciousness. Now, from my understanding, the Christ consciousness is within every soul. And when Yeshua, sorry about that, folks, but I like saying Yeshua. It just makes me feel so nice. But Yeshua came through as a representative of, a teacher of the Christ consciousness concept. And by the word Christ being Greek, simply means the consciousness or the level in which we're able to exercise those powers within ourselves. And Buddha tried to bring forth knowledge. Muhammad tried to bring forth knowledge. We have every level of humanity receiving the same message, interpreting or translating it from their own perspective. But it is the same seed for the one tree. If you've ever seen a mustard seed, that is the tiniest thing in the world. It looks like it's smaller than the head of a pin. But if you see the end result, the tree that comes from that, it can take up a city block. That's how big it gets. So if you imagine that perspective allowing that to bring forth, this is what I can do. This is just with faith. This is what I can do. It can be overwhelming.
By the way,
Yeah.
on that note, vital life force energy,
Yes.
I would like to take it to the growers of grapes in California and
Oh,
restore their vines at twice the speed of normal. And I would like to achieve millions of dollars in financial compensation for putting the team in place that could grow grapevines quick. Because if
okay.
you see what I've done with the plants in my own yard, you wouldn't believe it.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I said, yes, I would.
We know that all living things thrive on the energy that we happen to do well with, whether it be Reiki or vital life force energy.
No, absolutely. Why do you think that going out into nature and these kinds of things is such a big part of most healing modalities?
And
Right?
I'm going to tell you something. I mean, for practical reasons, I renamed this and I distinguish it by doing so. But if I was going to have a large school, I would still have Reiki taught there, but I would rename that too. It would no longer be called Reiki. It would be called Vital Life Force Energy, because that's precisely what it is.
Yes.
All forms of healing are delivering vital life force energy.
Well, remember, it's only called Reiki because Dr. Yusui was Japanese. And so it's Japanese, meaning universal
He
life
was a
force.
sweet man, a kind man, a good man. He was the start of something wonderful. Well, actually, he wasn't the start of something wonderful.
No.
India brought us the chakras, not Dr. Yusui. They taught the knowledge of chakras. So let's not leave the contributions made by the nation of India to what we call Reiki.
Well, now, if you want
Dr.
to get,
Yasui isn't here anymore.
no, but we still use the term that he used. But if you want to go back even farther than the Indian chakras, perception of chakras, in Kabbalah, it's called Tikkun HaFanesh, and it is basically it's when you look at the display of where the chakras are supposed to be located, and you look at the tree of life, you realize that there is more than just a similarity. In Tikkun HaFanesh, you place the names of God where we call Reiki, what we call chakras or portals. It doesn't matter what we call them. But these are the sensitive centers of the human mainframe. And so in this particular modality, which is just another offshoot, you place the Aramaic names of God, Yud He Vav He, and you in the at the feet, wherever the portals are, this is where you concentrate the energy. So what we've got is the same verse coming out in different languages, different songs. It is now 9:31, and let's see, Melvina didn't make it. She was okay, and I guess Reverend Sharon Renee is still not home yet because she said she would tune in as soon as she was. So, if I may impose upon you, my kind and gentle friend, to do a distant healing on not just everyone that's in the forum right now, but it's sort of a, well, could we say universal? Is that covering enough souls, or we want to go omniversal, or?
Are you asking this of me?
Yes, my sweet.
I
I'm
need
asking that.
permission from anybody I heal with this.
Oh,
I can't do it without it.
okay. We have permission to send to me,
You're
and
going
I
to
don't.
have it.
Okay. I don't know where did Nelia go to? I can't speak for her though. Well, Mr. Murphy, do you think that you're interested at this point? Hello?
I'm
I'm
listening.
sorry.
You're listening.
Can I
Okay,
get my
so
permission?
yeah, okay, your permission is granted. Uh, there we go.
Okay. I shall do it as soon as we're done with this call. I will open your fields and I will treat you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So much.
I appreciate you so much.
And I love you both. I love you all.
This is a very, very important moment on many levels. And we will observe a closing now because I want you to get some rest, sir. So I'm not going to keep you on like we did the last time we were gone. We were gone for at least quite a few hours. We'll do that again when
Listen, I keep toothpicks right here. And anytime I need them to keep my eyelids open, I use them.
I knew that's where you were going with that. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do now at this point is there it is. Bring out my bowl and we'll do an arm for closing. But I am just going to give a general salutation for all souls, observation of light. And as you said before, we include the dark because the dark seeks light as well. On a level of as high of frequency of energy as we can possibly can. And for those who intended to make it, we hold for them also a space in the light. And, oops, there's my Rudram. Gotcha. I don't know if you can hear it, but Om. Om. And tonight I'm going to do Om Namah Shivaya. So please, if you need to sign off, I have no challenge with that. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. And good night. And God bless.
And God bless all.
Good night.
Good
God
night.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Om Namah